Dear ones, greetings in love to you all. It has become a new time, a time during which high frequencies of light energy are making available a higher state of consciousness for all receptive. In spite of appearances, everything is proceeding according to plan. The train has left the station. Allow the process, dear ones, for all is as it should be as frequencies of light flow to the world in increasingly intense waves of higher consciousness. Those still asleep in the illusions of sense are unaware of exactly what is taking place, but experience these intense energies as well. This often brings about a sense of empowerment in them that they are only able to process through their limited spiritual awareness, resulting in actions of anger, fear, and aggression. You who are awake, know what is energetically taking place at this time, but it can be very easy to slip back into old habits previously called upon for survival, like fear, doubt, and anger. Simply allow the process, dear ones, allow the process. Trust that your higher self knows exactly what you are ready for, when you are ready, and how to bring it to you. You have reached that point of spiritual readiness where you must begin to let go of and move beyond doubt, for doubt is nothing more than a facet of separation belief. Continuing to trust your doubts rather than the truth will only serve to anchor you in the past. Separation beliefs keep you isolated from God, other people, nature, and most importantly your own divine self. Your spiritual journeying over lifetimes has brought you to a place of knowing that you are not and never could possibly be separate from one. However, some continue to understand oneness as a mental concept or intellectual information, never allowing it to become their attained state of consciousness. Honor yourselves through acknowledging that in spite of any appearances, you are and could only ever be expressions of the one source, because nothing else exists. If for any reason you are excluding yourself from oneness, you are in separation. Guilt creates a sense of separation, even for the very awake, when actions of the past are recalled and examined with new and higher awareness. Allow, love, and accept everything from your past, dear ones, the good as well as the bad, for in doing this will enable you to leave the past behind and relegate the painful parts to the nothingness that they really are. Guilt is simply another facet of the belief in separation, separation from your true self and from others involved. Realize that actions taken in the past represented your attained state of consciousness at that time. Every individual is required only to live out from their highest attained state of consciousness, which is what you were doing. You are no longer in and of this former state of consciousness, but have evolved to become a new and awake individual, the real meaning of being born again, one who understands the world differently than in the past through a consciousness that recognizes the divine nature of self and others. Know that many past experiences were chosen for spiritual growth. If you are guided to make amends to someone within the framework of what is appropriate, do so, but do not let the past linger or weigh you down. Your highest service to anyone who has offended you or whom you have offended, is to send light and forgiveness from a consciousness of oneness to all involved, including yourself. The time is here and now to acknowledge, accept, and begin living as a divine being. High frequencies of ascension energy are forcing all who have been preparing through lifetimes, to make this choice. The time for procrastination is over. Telling yourself you are not ready or spiritual enough is nonsense based in beliefs of separation. The time is now for all who are serious about their spiritual evolution. Are you choosing to continue living, moving, and having your being in concepts of duality and separation, taking classes, reading books, lighting candles, etc., because it is familiar, continuing to seek and search for what you already know? Or are you brave enough to leave that all behind and step into your own light? All have free will and can live in illusion forever if they choose, but now is a perfect and powerful time for the awakened to move into new realms of consciousness and leave behind everything that no longer serves their soul, but instead continues to feed the illusions of material sense. I am that I am. What does this sacred phrase really mean? It means exactly what it says, dear ones. I, the only consciousness, energy, substance, and reality, is what I am. Do you believe this, or have you simply and without thought relegated it to only saints and ascended masters? Many of you are saying, yes, but, no more buts, dear ones. The time for buts has run out and can no longer exist for anyone who is serious about their spiritual evolution. Either you accept that you are a divine being embodying all the qualities of Source, or you do not. You have prepared for this through lifetimes and are ready to come into your own. Now, you are qualified to be finished with seeking and searching through classes, books, groups, spiritual tools, etc., but the habit of seeking has become so ingrained that even the very evolved hesitate to give it up, not realizing that they will still receive information and be taught, but the higher learning will come from within rather than from without. We are not saying there is no longer any place for classes, books, readings, crystals, beads, ceremony, etc., because for many, especially beginners, these tools are the bridge that will lead them into higher truths. Nor do we say that you cannot enjoy your favorite crystal, go to church, or take some class you may be guided to, but these things must now become a choice, rather than a need. You are no longer beginners, and any continued dependence on outer persons, places, or things in the belief that they are necessary to your spirituality can only serve to keep you in bondage to what is old and false, everything based in duality and separation. Metaphysics is action taken to heal, correct, or change something. Mysticism is the realization that there is nothing to heal, correct, or change. You are ready to become modern-day mystics. Those who live in the world but are not of it. This can be difficult for those who make their living through the practice and teaching of metaphysics. It is the sacred obligation of those who teach and work in the metaphysical fields to allow their students to grow beyond needing them or any particular practice. An evolved teacher will make it clear to his students that spiritual tools only serve to activate that which is already fully present within them, rather than being the source of power. The ultimate goal of any spiritual path is to grow the student beyond needing it, and into the realization of, that which I have been seeking, I am. Intense energies of light are forcing dense energies still held in cellular memory to surface physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Allow these experiences, which at times can be unpleasant, to move through and out, which can take several days. Be aware that any pain or inconvenience is temporary. Old energies stored from other lifetimes are simply impersonal beliefs accepted and claimed as reality, which is important to remember if a clearing becomes uncomfortable. If you declare to yourself and believe I am this or I am that, sick, depressed, fearful, etc., you draw these concepts back into your energy field and endow them with a reality and power they do not have, and where they can once again become personally yours. This does not mean you stick your head in the sand while shouting, God is all. For to pretend a state of consciousness not yet attained is very human. It means that in spite of appearances or while taking human footsteps that may be necessary for a situation, you know and hold the truth. If some painful clearing experience arises for you, remember that these things are not some sort of karmic punishment, but rather represent a graduation, indicating your readiness to clear them and move beyond the past and into higher awareness. Learn to handle uncomfortable clearing experiences from a centered and neutral state of awareness, able to say, "Oh, you again," simply letting whatever is surfacing move out while giving it no power. A consensus consciousness based in duality and separation is what holds together the third-dimensional world of good and evil. You are witnessing the chaos of today because consciousness, which is the substance of all form, is rapidly changing as more souls awaken and add their light to the mix. Because you are God beings, you are creators and must never forget or ignore this. Be alert to what you are creating through your thoughts, words, beliefs, etc., your state of consciousness. Allow miscreations to become your teachers. Rather than blaming some outside source when you find yourself in a problematic situation, honestly examine your belief system. Learn to live in the now moment as an observer, not ignoring what you observe, but rather seeing the world through the eyes of spiritual awareness. Be like an adult who is watching children play in a sandbox. The observer notices that one is a bully, some surrender and do what the bully wants, and others play quietly by themselves, giving no regard or surrender to the bully. The observer does not have to get into the sandbox with the children, but may guide the direction of play through some firm but loving interaction. Then again, he may do nothing at all, simply allowing the energy to play out, wisely aware that with time, each will experience the lessons they have created and set in motion from their attained state of consciousness, with or without his help. Whatever a spiritually aware observer does, he always does it from center, following the guidance that flows freely from spiritual awareness and trust. The time has arrived for all awake to live what they know by bringing unconditional love into every situation and circumstance, no matter how seemingly human it may appear. This never means being another's doormat, or staying in some toxic situation in the false belief that they are being spiritual and loving. Bringing unconditional love into some toxic situation may mean powerfully stating to self and others, "Enough is enough." Always honor your own divine self. It means fully accepting yourself as a divine being here on earth to awaken, learn, evolve, and then assist others ready to understand and ascend to higher dimensional realities. You are the way showers and the teachers, midwives assisting the birth of a higher state of universal consciousness. Everything you have been preparing for lifetimes has arrived. Will you get on the bus, or wait another few lifetimes? We are the Arcturian group,